All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's open forum. As you guys know, what we do here is our agent success program is to teach you guys how to spend the money that we're not taking on growing your own business rather than paying your broker 20 or 30% and growing their business. We want you to take the money that we aren't taking and grow your own business. And one of those ways that there's lots of different marketing ways to do this, but one of the ways that many of you have used, and I have them on every about twice a year to talk to you guys, and it's important this time of year to get you guys going, is Reminder Media. We love them coming in. They have some great products to offer you guys. You don't have to do this, guys, just something for you to look at. And a lot of you have done this with great success, which is why I keep having them come back. So I wanted to, Chris is here. Chris, feel free to introduce yourself. If you're going to share a screen, you can.
All right, perfect. Let me get the screen. Bear with me 1 second. Tell me if you can see that. Okay.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Reel, and I'm one of the trainers here with Reminder Media. I just want to thank you all for giving me a few minutes of your time today. I know there's about, I think, 10 or 11 agents right now that are in program with us and using us consistently. For the sake of time, I'm not going to rattle off everybody's name, but if you are here and using us or have used us in the past, I want to thank you for the business that you've given us. So name of the webinar, Stop Missing Opportunities and Start Connecting. Now, real estate, you all know it's a relationship business. Whether you're new or seasoned, everybody has a database right now full of contacts. They could be your past clients, your SOI, or any prospects that you're nurturing. All these people will know other people that will buy or sell, whether it's the rest of this year or the next year to come. I think the biggest challenge for every agent, how do you stay in front of these people consistently to capture the referrals that will come from them? And then you got to turn them into commission checks, of course. So I'm going to show you a couple quick slides from NOR. This one shows you the transactions from last year. 60% of all buyers, 67% of all sellers, all found their agent from some type of referral, or they use an agent that they already had a relationship with. Now, when we dive a little bit deeper into the listing transactions, we break them down for you. You're going to see 40% came from referrals, 27% from agents they already had a relationship with. Then you have the rest here in the gray. What I want you to focus on is in the middle, which is the internet website leads. So this is Zillow, it's Realtor.com, and other internet website lead generation sources everybody's pouring a ton of money into every year. Now this shows you combined less than 5% of sellers found their agents from places like this. So I think when you look at it all and then you sum everything up, the majority of people out there today, they are finding the homes that they want online, but the agents that they're choosing to work with, whether they're buying or selling, are coming from referrals and other key relationships they have in their life. I think the biggest telltale sign of it all, though, is always the money, right? They always say, if you want the truth, follow the money. So you're going to see last year, the average agent made just over $54,000. They did 12 transactions, 20% came from referrals, 16% from repeat clients. Now, this next one's going to highlight the top 3% in the country. Anybody that made 150K or over. And it's been like this for the last 5 years, folks. If you look, almost 60% of their business comes out of the database. Now, when you look at the rest of these income gaps here to the left, as we walk down them, you're going to see that the percentage goes down with it, right? So there is a direct correlation to the amount of money that you're going to make to the amount of business that you do grab out of your database. Now, I think there's a big gap in between both the numbers because where agents put their money. So when you look here in the gray, I mean, nobody can argue any of this with you. You need all this stuff to operate for the most part. But right here in the red, this is what's optional for you. This is your referral relationship expenses. Now, this shows you 55% of agents are only spending $50 to $100 a year on things like this. So let's take a quick second. Everybody think about your marketing budget. And we're going to picture like a big pizza. And we're going to slice it into 8 slices. How many slices are you giving to your past clients and key relationships? And how many slices do you give away? Now, as you saw in that previous graph, the majority of agents out there are giving their entire pizza away to total strangers, right? So the end result and what we're preventing for you is you're driving down the road seeing a for sale sign on a past client's lawn or an SOI's lawn that's not yours. Maybe you log into the MLS one Sunday night, see a prospect that you were trying to nurture the last 3 to 6 months, end up listing with another agent, or maybe just scrolling through Facebook one day and you see somebody in your friend list standing in front of a home they just bought and you weren't that agent. So these are some of the missed opportunities that we experience, and that's what we do here at Reminder Media. We're going to help you stay connected to everybody on a personal level to drive repeat and referral business. Now, this is our 19th year doing this. We work with over 60,000 agents, and here's the tools that we use. So I'll start with American Lifestyle. This is our flagship, and this one's all general interest stuff. It's got leisure, art, travel, design, sports, and recipes. Start Healthy, general health and wellness, mind and body. There's basic fitness and exercise in here. Recipes, because of the name, will all be healthy, of course. And then the articles throughout this one are like, say, how to detox your body or foods that'll boost your immunity, all types of stuff like that. The Good to Be Home is all real estate and home design content, tips to increase the value of your home, how to stage your house if you want to sell it, being more efficient with the utilities, or the pros of doing preventative and seasonal maintenance. I've seen a ton of outdoor yard and garden stuff too. So you have a full spectrum of that. And then the Business in Action is our newest one. We did create this originally for the financial sector. If you have a lot of corporate, commercial, or investors, clients, as far as that goes, this is the right one for them. It's all about investing, financing, and different strategies to run and operate businesses. Okay. So the neat thing about this, you can alternate between them as much as you like. You always have options to choose from. And to give you a visual perspective, if you haven't seen us before, Architectural Digest or Southern Living, we look exactly like they do. It's a high gloss cover, 48 pages of full color, and it's got that nice heavier paper too, not that clipper stuff. The number one thing agents love, they're very easy to customize and maintain. So I'll start with the front cover. Picture, contact info, and logo are here. Top corner, it's going to say compliments of you. In my case, compliments of Chris Reel. If you have a partner, we can 15 pictures here as well. Now, I'll show you here. Each edition has about 15 different covers to choose from. This is the current holiday edition that we just released that everybody uses at the end of the year for their gift instead of the Hallmark cards and calendars. Couple different looks, too. Traditional look with no headshot. Your headshots will be in the top left or bottom left, depending on which magazine you pick. As I continue to scroll down through these, I circle the second one in here. You can do body shots as well. So you have a couple different variations you can pick from. You'll see all the different themes as well that you can pick from. And I'll show you the Good to Be Home. And with each new edition that comes out, all your content, your covers, everything's going to be very relevant to the time of year we're in, holidays that might be coming up. So you have a bunch of different things to pick from. Here's your Start Healthy. I'll apologize to you up front. The Business in Action covers did not load before I got on. So I have my IT department looking into that. So, all right. So there's the Start Healthy.
Hey,
And the
Chris,
Business in Action.
I don't,
Yes.
is it my screen that's frozen? But mine's stuck on the customize your front cover. Good to Be Home. That's all I see. Is yours too?
No, mine. Okay. Is everybody else's like that too?
Yeah, mine is frozen.
Oh, my
too.
word. I don't. Let me stop.
Mine's been getting stuck off and on and then coming back.
Let me see. Let me stop sharing. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for telling me that. I've never known. All right. Let me stay. All right. Let's try it again. Tell me if this works. All right. Let's try this. It's not. Did it switch?
That's where it was before.
That's where it was before. Let me do. I'm gonna try. If this kicks me off, I'm gonna try to reset my my VPN connection. Maybe that's what it. We were having a little issue earlier, but I thought they fixed it. Let me tell me if this works. Oh, I can see it now. I can see the screen. I wasn't even. I'm working off two computers. This should fix it. I apologize to you. I'm very sorry about this. I know he's have an agenda to get to. This should. I don't know if it's my internet or an internet. What's going on here? But bear with me 1 second. It's still spinning. Did you see the rest of the slides though? All the way up until this one, right? All the number slides they went through. Okay, because I have a second computer. I'm just kind of looking into the screen and working off that, but I wasn't really paying attention to the other slides. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's not. I'm very sorry about this. Ryan, is it okay? Let me see. I might need what I might need to do. Oh wait. All right. Let's see. All right. So I'm try this again. It should have fixed it. If not, I'm gonna have to wing it. But all right, here we go. Yep, that should work. Hold on. All right. Still not working, is it?
Saying it's the same slide. I don't know if it's working. or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm flipping through. Let's see if this slide will go, if I go to the next one. Yeah, you know what's happening?
There you go.
The cover. Yeah, so the covers, for some reason, it just won't show the covers. All right, so I apologize to you about that. But again, there are usually for each magazine, this I can still get through this, but for some reason the covers aren't loading. So I apologize to you. I thought it was just a business in action, but apparently it's all of them. But again, there are 15 different covers you could choose from, different themes, and hopefully from what I described, you got a better look of it. Here's the inside cover. Your branding will be here, but there's also a letter that you could tailor to your clients. Now, there's two ways to do this letter. One, if you're a plug and play person like myself, there are pre-written letters in the interface that we give you. They're already drawn up. They're going to still be personalized. They still say Dear Bill and Judy, not Dear Value Client or Resident, which I know we all hate. If you want to edit these letters to make them your own, say you just want to tick out a few lines or a paragraph and add some of your own, you could do that. The other option, you could write the entire letter yourself. Maybe somebody you know had a milestone birthday or a newborn baby or any major event in their life, and you want to specifically address that just to them in their magazine. You could do that. It just comes down to how much time you want to put into it. All right. Now, we also give you 2 tear-out cards. I call these the ultimate business card. For those that are just seeing this for the first time, they are a 6x4 high-gloss postcard that's perforated in the magazine that people could tear out and take with them. Again, on one side, you'll see your branding. On the other side, we have a lot of options to put on the back, but we always default to the recipes, especially around the holidays. But recipes might not be your thing. So we got motivational quotes. We got trivia games. There's do-it-yourself projects for the home. There's health and fitness stuff. I mean, there's stuff for the vets, pets, kids. So anything that you think of, we will have it. Now, if you have something special you want us to throw on the back, send it over to us, and we can do that for you too. All right. You're also going to have the entire back cover inside and out to customize. Again, in the interface, we give you a lot of template ads and designs you could pick from, like the one you're looking at here. But what a lot of agents like to do with their back cover is put their listings and recently solds here. So anytime that you have listings, if you want to feature them in the magazine, you could do that. If there's no current ones at the time, but you want to showcase the recently solds, that's also an option. One other cool thing with the back cover is you could sell it. Now, it's your magazine, you own it. If you want to co-brand, say team up with a lender, a builder, or any vendor in the area that you know to offset your cost, you can also do that as well. All right, so when it comes to marketing tools, there's so many things out there you can do, and I'm sure everybody's getting 50 calls a day. People try to sell you stuff, everything from lead generation all the way down to the helium for the balloons you're going to use for your open houses, right? So I broke this down into 2 sections. You look to the left, you're going to see the dinners, bottles of wine, gift cards, and baskets. Great closing gifts. These aren't cost effective though, right? If we try and do this and sustain it over a long period of time for everybody we close and or meet, what happens? We end up working for free eventually. Now on the right, very cost effective. Newsletters, flyers, emails. I don't want to beat this stuff up. I think everything does serve a purpose at some point. At the end of the day, you do want to maximize your shelf life in the home though. Think about yourself. You're all in sales. You're still consumers. You'll buy cars, furniture, and jewelry. When you go home at night and you grab your mail, say somebody sends you a newsletter or a flyer, 99% of the time after you look at it, where does it usually end up? If you're like me, it will not make it past your mailbox. So I call this stuff lottery marketing. If the numbers don't match that day for something specific we're looking for, we're throwing out the tickets. That's the number one reason why agents use it. So we get you on the coffee table 100% of the time. It's going to serve as a visual reminder that you value their relationship. I always say it's like a mini billboard in the home. We have a minimum of a 4-week shelf life, but our average is 6 weeks in the home. It's going to keep you top of mind at all times. It's going to make you look great. And it's going to give you a reason, or an excuse, I should say, to be proactive and reach out to your clients. Check in with them periodically throughout the year, especially after the holidays. See how they're doing, what they thought of the magazines. Maybe they tried some recipes and things that are in there. But then you can feel comfortable at the end of that call and just remind them you need referrals. Ask them who they know that'll love the magazine like they do, that you can introduce yourself to, that'll be buying or selling in the upcoming markets. Okay. Now that's one side. One other quick thing on the prospecting side, stick them in your local businesses, your doctors, your dentist, the hair and nail salons, barbershop, any place that has that high foot traffic, that if people do not look at their phones, they're going to flip through magazines when they're waiting to be serviced. Leave them in the waiting rooms like a fishing line. We've always gotten great testimonials from that. And then you can also hold on to some. So when you go out on a listing appointment, or if you have an open house, you can use it as a first impression piece, because it'll always win over a business card and really add validity to your brand when you're meeting somebody new for the first time. So we can customize these multiple ways to hit different campaigns of your business in each batch that we do for you. So it's not just like a one-trick pony per se. All right. The next slide I have is going to be the incentives that we have going for the holidays. But before I get into the numbers, any questions on the concept? Nope. Okay. So what we're doing for the holidays is offering a one-time mailing. If you like what you see, you can literally try this once. There's no contract. Get it out, get it in people's hands, see what type of response you get. And if you like it and want to continue like the other agents have, that's always our goal. And if you did it once and thought, hey, it's not for me, it's just a one-time test drive, we will shut it right down. Before I give you the numbers, we do have two quick new things we did roll out. This is an AI program. We released it a year ago. It's called Target Follow-Up. It'll take the entire database that you have and it runs it through all these predictive analytics, even down to what people click on and look up on Facebook and Google. And it can also identify if they went to websites like Zillow or Realtor.com. And then it scores and organizes your database for you from first to last, telling you who the most prime targets that'll buy or sell in the upcoming months based on those analytics and social media behavior. Since we rolled it out, it's been consistently operating in the 70 percentiles. So it's getting a ton of our agents in front of these people at the right time when they were clicking on stuff for themselves, family, and friends that the agents didn't know they were doing so at the time. So it's really working well for everybody. And then QR codes. If you have a QR code or you want us to create you one, that'll take people to your website or a landing page that we'll give you to capture their info. You can also do that as well. All right, so I'm going to come back to that QR code in 1 second. Here's your numbers. What you need to set up your account. We have a one-time startup to get going. Normally, it's $299. When we do these presentations for Ryan, we knock $200 off. It's $99 to start. This is a one-time fee. It is not a reoccurring charge. Once you're with us, we don't care if you mail once and take a break and come back down the road. You might stay with us for 5 years and take a break. Whenever you come back in, you never pay a startup again. You just jump back into the magazines. Okay, so it's one time. Now, it does go to multiple things. First is your mailing list. My favorite thing about us, we work off exclusivity. Anywhere you send this, people's homes, local businesses, all of your contacts, you're going to own them. If any other realtor jumps on board, has your names on their list, we make them take them off. So this will differentiate you from everybody else out there. Your clients are protected. In the interface we give you, there's a social media library. It's all of our content you can share to your social media pages to draw people to them. And then everybody gets their own marketing advisor who's going to be your assistant. They do all the work. They're going to customize, they mail it out. The only job you need to do is get your photos and list over to them. Other than that, just picking your covers and recipes, the things you want in there, but they'll do all the heavy lifting, the technical, and the mailing for you. So we try to make it as turnkey as possible for you. And then the price per magazine, $4.49 a piece. It includes everything, all printing, customizations, and your postage and handling. So, I mean, if you boil this down, it's cheaper than most Hallmark cards out there these days in the drugstore. And our minimum is just $50. So it comes out to $224.50. Now, you don't pay this up front. When the magazines print and ship, you just pay for them when they go out. You can pick when these go out. We have what's called a rolling deadline every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So every agent can work at their own pace. If you want to get them out ASAP, you can. You need a few weeks or a month to chip away at them, you can do that too. It's really up to you. And then that's it. There's no other fees. There's no hidden cost. Price per magazine does not change on you if you do continue. And when you get the first one out, you'll have a couple months to see the impact it has. We'll follow up with you after the holidays. As long as you like it, like I said, you can continue. If not, we'll shut it right down. Frequency says bi-monthly right here. Your normal rotation is every 2 months that it goes out. If you ever needed to bump it down, we do have a quarterly option as well. You just do it once a quarter, once a season, and your price will stay the same. Okay. I do have one special thing I want to do for everybody as well. But before I throw that at you, any questions on the pricing? No?
Does the price ever adjust if you were to do a certain number of issues mailed?
Yeah, great question. So after the minimum 50, you can increase or decrease by increments of 1. You don't have to do batches of 50, but once you get up to around 300, or I always say within walking distance of 300, 250, 275, we could take another 50 cents off the magazine. So it would go down to $3.99. 500 would be $3.79, and 1,000 would be $3.49. Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things, Ryan. I'm going to put my cell phone number in the chat for everybody. And that way, if anybody does have some questions, I'll hang around for a second if you want to message me, or you can even shoot me a text. Also, I want to put a QR code up here. So if you have a chance, you can pull out your phone, scan this. You'll get some samples over to you. Also, too, being one of the trainers here, I don't get to follow up and call through the offices like a lot of our sales execs that'll do these webinars when they do them for you. I would love to gain some more traction in the office. So if anybody's interested in trying this once for the holidays, if you scan this QR code, not only we get samples, but I can follow up with you. If you do decide to try this out, I will pay for the first 15 magazines for anybody who wants to do this. So it'll be a $67 credit on me when your magazines go out. Instead of $224 for your 50, you will only pay $157. So I'll take care of the first 15 for anybody who wants to give it a shot for the holidays as well. Okay. And then that is all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
You guys have any more questions for Chris? All right.
right.
Guys, this is a powerful thing to walk into a listing with. And I think that's where some of them should be used, is walk into a listing where they've just compared you with other people. And like Chris said, you know, people want to know how you're going to market it better than the last person who came. And one of those things to do is say, look, you're going to be on this back cover with all my other listings. And, you know, we're going to market your property like this. We're going to market your property like that. That's a strong selling point. I think that's very much worth $5.
Yeah. It looks like, I think somebody, Lisa just asked, can you add an existing QR code? Yes, you can. Well, I had one agent that put it on the front cover and said, find out what your home's worth, and they scan the QR code. There's a home evaluation tool we have. You could do that too. There's a lot of different things we could do, but you can add any QR. We can create it for you, or you can add an existing one that you have as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything else for Chris before he goes? You guys like to wait till the last second? Chris, sometimes you have to do a call it going once, going twice.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, if it's okay with you, Ryan, I'll hang out for a second. I'm gonna put my number in the chat. I'll hang out just for, you know, for like a minute or two, if you're okay with that. If anybody wants to message me, you can, and then I'll just click off. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, we're gonna get started on something else. But
Yeah.
if you guys want to ask a question to Chris, you can chat. Chris, will you put your contact info in there so they can? Well, I guess
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now for you. Let me see.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my cell phone number in here for everybody as well, so anybody can. You can also shoot me a text. Let me do this.
Yeah, why don't you guys do that? Text him, please. And we're gonna get moving on with something else. Chris, let me get my screen.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
There you go. Okay. There you go. All right.
All right.
Well,
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for coming in.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, as you guys saw on your welcome email, your invitation email to this, we have some things that I want to talk to you guys about, because we're having some issues on the thing on the contract. I like to do this, go through some things that you guys are having in case we have them again. Some of you guys are going to know this stuff to be easy and something you're used to, and some of you won't, and some of you who think it is are probably wrong. So let's move on this. I'm just going to put a blank. I don't know why it's not up there. Here we go. Okay. This is just a blank as is. Let's talk about, first and foremost, guys, quit buying people washers and dryers. On personal property, washers and dryers are not listed. So you need to write them down. If you want your buyer to they saw the pretty washer and dryer in there, write them down. If they were fancy Samsungs or something like that, write down the model numbers or whatever, and write washer and dryer that was present at showing. Okay? Be specific about this stuff. People will try to put some scratch and dents in there and take their fancy Samsungs with them to their new house, or they'll take them out even though they were there at showing. And it doesn't matter what the MLS says. This overrides the MLS. They redid this not long ago, and washers and dryers are not on here. Okay? Also, if something is going to be excluded and you're the listing agent, make sure it's written on here. Otherwise, everything that was in the house that's on this list is supposed to convey. Know what you're doing with this first section here. This is very important. And that's why, as I always say, realtors are the #1 buyers of washers and dryers in America. Okay, escrow amounts, you guys seem to know that pretty well. Closing date. You can write yes, you can write on or before. You can write text in this box, okay? You can do that. You do not have to use their calendar, is what I'm saying. If you're selling an investment property, guys, you guys get in trouble with this too. It's been 6 months since you guys got in trouble with this, but check this if there's an occupant. Otherwise, you have to leave this place broom swept for them, empty and broom swept. if that is not checked. Okay. So if there's a tenant there, you've got to buy out that tenant if they want you to. They can wait till the week before closing and say, hey, what are you doing with that tenant? Looks like the tenant's still in there. And you say, well, of course the tenant's still in there. And they say, well, it doesn't say that. It says it's not subject to lease or occupancy. We're supposed to have an empty house. All right. Guess who's in trouble for that? You and the seller. Assignability, guys, I always tell you guys I prefer this one, the second one. If you're the listing agent, you can take the second one or the third one. If you're the listing agent, don't take the first one. That's typically what somebody wants to do to wholesale your property. Don't take that one. But if they want to assign it but not be released, that's okay. A lot of times that just keeps you from having to do an addendum later where they have to add or subtract the husband or wife or add the mom on to co-sign or whatever it is they have to do. You can do that or move it to their LLC or something like that. You can do that or may not assign this contract. But if you're the listing agent, only take one of these back two. And if you're the buyer's agent, I like to do this one. And then a lot of times that gives them, if they're, for some reason they don't like that, it gives them something to negotiate. And I'll say, okay, well, we'll do this. And then if we want to change the name of the buyer, we just change it later. Oh gosh. All right. Financing. Some of you older, or let's say more experienced agents, been in the business longer, will still get caught up on commitment letters and denial letters. I defy you to find me denial letter anywhere in here or commitment letter anywhere in this contract anymore. It is not. It is just loan approval. If they don't have loan approval, guess what? They don't have to give you a denial letter. They can just say they don't have loan approval. But the good news is, for the listing agent, is you can call their loan officer and the loan officer has to talk to you. All right. That wasn't the case before. They did commitment letters and denial letters, but didn't have to talk to you. Now they have to talk to you, but they don't have to give. So they can't lie. You can't say I got denied. And then you call the lender. Lender has to tell you the truth. But also don't be that agent who's out there demanding a denial letter when it's not necessary by contract. A lot of times the loan officer will still write you one just to get you out of his email, but he's not required to, or she's not required to. And there's not a commitment letter anymore. Do you have loan approval? Yes or no? I'll go over this again real quickly with you guys. There's only 3 things that you do as the buyer's agent. You have to let them know within 30 days. I have loan approval and we're going forward. I don't have loan approval, but we're still going forward because we've got faith in this thing. Or I don't have loan approval and we're backing out and we'll get our deposit back. After that 30th day, day 31, 32, and 33, the seller can cancel the contract if they haven't heard from the buyer, but the buyer gets their deposit back. So if the seller's got a better offer waiting, which this was a problem a year and a half ago, but it's not anymore. The seller had a better offer waiting, they get rid of that buyer. So that's that I wanted to cover. Appraisals. Let's talk about appraisals. Who pays for appraisals? Who knows who pays for appraisals?
Lenders.
Technically the lender, right? The lender hires the appraiser. The buyer, they charge the buyer for it, of course, but the lender hires the appraisal. The lender owns the appraisal. The lender will share it with the buyer typically. Does the lender need to share it with the seller?
Negative.
They do not need to, but if they want money off because it came in low, guess what? Ask for it. You absolutely can ask for it if they want money off. Otherwise, they don't have to give it to you, and you don't have to say yes. So on the selling side, they do not have to give you the appraisal, a copy of the appraisal, and you do not have to agree. You don't know what it said. So that's how the appraisal process works. So I had one of you guys going back and forth about that. They don't have to give it to you, but if they want money off, they will, because they're going to know that you want to see it. But who's going to take their word that it came in 20 grand low and lower their price? So I want to see it because I might have a problem with it too. It should be higher. Maybe they're using bad comp, or they're using whatever. Of course, I want to review it. If you're saying my house isn't worth what we believe it is and what you agreed to pay for it. Okay, those are the things I wanted to cover on here. So I just got my pet peeves out of the way. Let's go with anything you guys have to ask. What's going on with you guys? What are you seeing out there in the market? We could go over some numbers here. I'll do that. We have some interesting numbers, I think.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I have a listing right now, and I just received a cash offer, but they're saying that they won't be represented, and the offer, however, at the end is showing listing agent, my name, but then as cooperating agent, they put my name as well. That shouldn't be that way, right?
But they don't want to be represented?
That's what they say. They're not looking to, or they're not looking to get a commission from
Okay.
the other side. And so they're putting it as an advantage to the seller because he won't have to pay both commissions. That's what they're telling me.
Right, right. So, well, that's not how that works. It works out whatever your
Right.
listing agreement says it works. So, so here's the deal. You know, they should have asked you if you have a variable commission to start with, which you do or don't, but some people do 6%, but 4%.
It is 6%. Mm-hmm.
Did you do that?
Yes, it has 6%.
Okay, you have 6%, but doesn't lower if you get both sides?
No,
Okay.
I
So you
didn't
don't have a variable.
on the listing.
No, that's good.
I mean,
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. So what they wrote is actually right. You're representing. They could have left it blank, but you're representing both. So you are a transaction broker in this case, a transaction agent, but you're the transaction broker. Florida Realty Investments is, and you're the agent. So you owe your duties of a transaction broker, which is to deal honestly and fairly, and a couple other things, and that is your duty on that deal.
okay. But in this case, even if I didn't put it that way on the listing agreement or anything, I could still present it to the seller and tell him that he could save money on
Only if you want to give up some of your commission. Only if you want to give up some of your commission. So what the buyer should have done is say, you have a variable commission. Well, you take less commission if I don't take a commission. So that's what they should have asked you.
Right.
But they didn't. So there you are. So you can lower your commission if you want to.
Right. Okay. So I just do an addendum in the case that it gets accepted, this offer.
You don't have to do an addendum. You can modify your listing agreement if you want.
Okay. All right.
You do a
Sounds
modification to listing agreement if you want to. You don't have to.
Okay.
A lot of times buyers will do that. So that's kind of a buyer's trick too. They'll send you a cash offer. Usually it's below asking, and they will say, oh, but you can represent us and keep the commission or whatever. They're just trying to get their offer accepted. And they think that realtors are unethical and they will push their offer to the front. Of course, in this market, it's probably the only decent offer you have. So that's why you're accepting it. But that's what they'll do.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions before we move forward with this? I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on in the market. Lots of new listings. I was very excited to see this number. Lots of new listings. What do you guys think is hurting listings right now? Why do you think people aren't selling? Somebody said interest rates.
Yes.
To what effect interest rates? To what about interest rates makes them not want to sell? They don't. What do they care? They're selling.
They can't replace the interest rate they currently have.
Perfect. Yes, they have 3.5%, and now they got to go pay 7.5% if they move to the house that they'd rather be in. Right. There's bad news and good news in that. The good news is when interest rates get back in line, there's going to be a lot of pent up demand, and the market's going to go a little bit crazy. The bad news is right now we're kind of stagnant. Look, more people decrease their price than new listings, but there's a lot of new listings. There's more new listings than sales, which is good because inventory went up a little bit. We didn't used to see expireds like this. 5,700 pending. So we have 450 more properties on the market this week than we did before. So that's good. Lots of canceled and withdrawn. But there's, people are out there asking too much money, or there's a lot of, make me an offer type listings out there. But lots of stuff going on, lots of back on markets. There's a lot of properties for sale out there. So there's getting a little bit more inventory. I want to cover that with you guys just to kind of see, but that's a lot of new listings. We haven't seen numbers like that in a while, so that's good. Any questions on the market? Any questions on what you guys are doing? Any questions on what we're doing? Now's the time, guys. Yes, Rashu. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, can you tell me one more time, like where was in the section that you were saying, like assign, like in which case a buyer has to check and in what case the seller has to check the assign thing? You know that there were three
The
check
buyer,
boxes.
it's always done with your offer. So the buyer's agent always checks the box. The one says, can cancel and be released from contract. I'm sorry, let me look at the actual words. One says, may assign and be released from all obligations. That is for typically for people who are going to be trying to flip the contract. They want to assign it, get their money, and be done with it. And you can't come after them for anything. Now you have to go after the new person, which you also couldn't go after because they're not even a party to that contract. So secondly, there's one that says may assign but not be released. That's the one that's okay as the seller. As the buyer, that's good because sometimes I have to replace a name on the contract or add a name to it for a co-signer or move it to an LLC or do whatever. So that one's a good one for the buyer and the seller, really. That's my preferred one for everybody. And the last one is may not assign. And that's, of course, if you're the seller, that's fine. You gotta approve if they do want to. They have to get your approval. You cannot unreasonably, just so you guys know, you cannot unreasonably withhold approval if it does not affect the seller. You're not going to win that. That's been decided through courts before. You cannot unreasonably withhold if it doesn't affect you or hurt you to allow someone to add it. Just from precedent set in courts, it's going to go the buyer's way on that. If you unreasonably withhold, try to get out of the contract by unreasonably withholding approval of them adding someone or whatever.
So the
Yeah.
safe option for the being a buyer's agent and the seller's agent is always go for the second one.
No. The second one and the third one are safe. Both of them are safe. Both of them are fine.
Okay.
I like to, when I'm on the buyer side, put the second one. Sometimes you'll get somebody who's, oh no, they've heard about assigned contracts and somebody they knew got worked over by a wholesaler. So they'll be absolutely not assigning it without my approval. That's okay. That gives them something to negotiate. Right?
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
You bet. My prediction for the Orlando market, I am not an expert on predicting markets, but I would say it seems like it's going to hold steady for a while, depending on what these rates do. It's all rate dependent. It seems like it's going to hold steady for a while. I don't think values are going to go up at all. I think they're, as you guys have seen, I think they're maybe going sideways, maybe even a little bit receding now because of all the concessions being made and all the other terms. I think the prices are holding steady, but the terms are being more favorable to the buyers. When the rates turn around, the market's really going to turn around. There's a lot of people right now who would like to move and just aren't because of what we said earlier. I'm not giving up my 3.5% interest rate for a 7.5%. And who knows where that's going? Sounds like it might be going up to 8 or near 8. So that's hard to do, but people are moving. Obviously, look at all the new listings. People are moving. People are selling. Yes, there's something to be said for not a lot of inventory too. It's a good time to sell, but depends on what you can do with that rate. Rashu, you had another question.
Yes. So Ryan, like for the appraisal, like the buyer pays for it, but the lender requests.
The lender pays for it and requests it, but then they charge the buyer for it. So they get reimbursed by the buyer, but the lender pays for it. The appraiser gets paid by the lender, and then they charge the buyer for it.
Oh, usually in couple of my clients, the lenders just ask the, as he requests, he asks the client to pay for it. So it's normal that
the appraiser directly?
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, so it's always lender pays and it includes the fees at the closing,
because the lender typically has to pay. I thought that was a law, but they have to pay because it has to be their appraisal. I can't buy an appraisal and give it to a lender because who knows who it is. The lender has to choose the appraiser, and the because I can't provide my own appraisal, and I can't pay or have any, you know, I can't pay them an extra 100 to make it a good one or something like that. So typically that's what happens. Typically they charge the buyer for that, and you pay.
So
the,
that's the normal trend, like
that's the normal thing, and because the lender wants to own the appraisal too.
Oh, so the lender pays when he orders it, but he will charge the buyer for it.
Yeah, the lender, like Alexa said, the lender sends a link and charges for the appraisal. They charge, you typically pay the lender for the appraisal.
Yeah, that's how it works actually. Yeah, that's how it is. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, guys. Well, I'm around if you guys need anything. Hit me up, email me, guys. Email is always the best way. I know a lot of you guys love to text, but I'm old. I love to email. So send me emails. Actually, the reason for that is I get so many texts that they go off the bottom, and once I open them, if I'm in a meeting or I'm in the car or something, I can't respond. I can't mark them unread like I can emails. So I really appreciate emails. The phone calls are okay, but follow them up with emails, please. And copy Michelle on them, copy Michaela on them. And we'll get back to you ASAP. But email's the best way. Text, I can't keep up with my text, so please email me. All right, guys. Any questions or comments before we go? What do you guys, what signature service that all the agents you're using? Rochelle, I can answer that question because I use a little bit of all of them, but a lot of them use whichever one. If they use Transaction Desk, they use AuthentiSign. If they use Form Simplicity, they use eSign. Some of them use DocuSign, which is more expensive. All of them are more expensive if you go monthly. Use the ones that come with your MLS. Whichever, if you use Form Simplicity or Transaction Desk, I believe they're both about $99 a year now for eSign or AuthentiSign, whichever one you choose. We still have people in here using .loop. We got people on here using everything. So, but if you just go look for one right now, if you Google signature things, they're going to be $20 a month or $15 a month. You're better off just doing the $99 a year that you get from Transaction Desk, AuthentiSign or eSign through Form Simplicity, wherever you pull your documents. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Sorry, I haven't really checked the chat. All right, guys, I do want to talk to you about Reminder Media. You guys have used that. It's a lot of you guys have used it. A lot of our agents have used it. Angie, you've used it, haven't you? Yeah, Angie's used it. I know.
Yeah, I still use it now. I've been using it for several years. Yeah.
Do you walk into a listing appointments with it?
Absolutely.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant just for that. And I would absolutely go every time I go to the dentist or the doctor's office, leave one behind.
Yeah, and I've been leaving them at my staged houses too. A couple of my listings are staged, so they have like really nice furniture. And then I have a couple of them sitting on the coffee table, so they look really nice there.
Brilliant. I love that. I love that. I think that is great self-promotion because that's what everybody wants to know. You know, this isn't it used to, okay, years ago when I started in the business, everybody was 50-50. You weren't work for a broker. You wanted floor time. You wanted to answer the phone and greet people as they walked in the door. And now that whole thing has changed, but you paid your broker 50-50 because they did all your marketing. They had you a desk and coffee and everything else, and they gave you floor time, and you owed your business to them pretty much. And you were just like if you guys go to a Honda dealership today, you don't care if Bill or Samantha or Angie or Ryan or whoever comes out, that's your salesperson. You don't care. That's the way real estate used to work years ago. You know, people go into Century 21 and they didn't care who their agent was. They worked for Century 21. They'd be fine. Well, Century 21 would also pay for your classified ads back then. For those of you younger people, that was like Craigslist on paper. Classified ads, they would pay for those magazines with the rows and rows of houses in them with colored pictures and all that stuff that back before we had cell phones, if you went to a pizza restaurant, that's what the family was all looking at, passing this magazine around. Oh, look, the Johnson's house, you know, whatever, right? So that your broker used to pay for all that stuff. Nowadays they don't, and you put it on the MLS and everybody gets the same marketing. It's on everybody's websites all over the world, right? Hundreds or thousands of websites all over the world, anything that you put in the MLS. Well, this is something that sets you apart, and this is something that looks professional, and this is something that, you know, yours, they don't know whether your magazine is getting 50 people or if it's getting 5,000 people. They don't have any idea what your circulation is. So you walk in that house, look, this is my magazine. Your house will go right here next to these other ones on my listings, you know, blah, 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 right? It's fantastic. It just makes you look so professional, stand out. And that's
Also, I gave it out at an open house last week, and I had some potential seller leads, so I gave them one also. So they're good for that. So always have them out at open houses too.
it's $4 or $5 a pop. That's amazing. That's amazing. So the only thing better than that is if you just hand them a $5 bill and say, list with me. That's illegal, so don't do that. All right. So, all right. Any other questions before we go? For all of you who sent me cards and called me to check on my well-being since I was sick last week, I really appreciate you. None of you did that, but if you had, I would have really appreciated it. And I feel much better. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.